Haitian Americans sometimes have poor relationships with their parents due to cultural differences. In your opinion, what type of trauma does having a poor relationship with your parent cause? What advice would you give someone dealing with trauma from their upbringing?
It's tough because our parents have experienced so much trauma that they have not even spoken about. And I think for me, at my age now, I realize the more, I'm gonna be very transparent, and I didn't always have a good relationship with my mom, right? And I'm just like, what is wrong with this crazy lady? Like, something's wrong with you. You know, there's something that you're battling that you have not dealt with. And it's not until, like I said, resources. I'm like, you know, I'm in the field. As I'm getting older, I'm studying my mom, right? I'm learning my mother as well. And I'm like, the way she was taught is the same way she's trying to teach me. The way her mother spoke to her is the same way she spoke to me, right? And how does that affect you, Del? Well, if my mother spoke to me a certain way, as I get older, I talk to certain people the same way too. It could be in a relationship, it could be in friendship, it could be anything. When I have children or my nieces, so I realized how it affects us a lot is our parents bleed on us, and we bleed on the next, and the cycle continues. And so it's hard because it's learned behavior. They don't know any better. And I think our issue is, and I learned this now, is that I didn't have grace for my mom. I didn't have grace for my aunts. And I realized it's because of the way they were raised, right? But then now I'm just like, wow, like, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. They didn't know any better. They didn't go and they don't talk about their emotions and their feelings. My mother lost her mother when she was 15, and she's still dealing with that till this day. I feel as though because of that loss, and now she has us, she didn't get a chance to, as a woman, you experience your mom in your 20s, you experience your mom in your 30s, or even when you're preteen. My mom didn't really have that relationship. And so for her, what she does is she's so aggressive with us. She's so overbearing. Oh my gosh, it's so much. And it's because she wanted that. She craved that. And so for me growing up, and my sister was just like, yo, you're so annoying. You're so mean. You're so angry. And it's not that it's love. You know, it's just she doesn't know how to show her love. Because for me, I should say, like, a lot of parents, or I should say mothers is more so they show their love by cooking you a 5-course meal, right? A father is the bills are paid. You know, that's them expressing and showing how they feel about you, but they would never say the word love, right? You know, how many times have you heard that from your parents? Some may have not, right? And now how that affects me in my adult life is, am I able to say love, right? Am I able to show love? Am I able to receive it because it wasn't, you know, portrayed to me a certain way? I only know it one way, so now, again, it's up to me to kind of like break that down within myself to say, you know what? I don't think if I'm trying to talk to a guy or guy trying to talk to me being so aggressive, that's going to push him away, you know? But that's just the only way I know how to communicate because that's how it was communicated to me. So I'm still learning now. I think we all are, how to properly communicate and how to not allow what our parents went through to trickle down on us, but also have grace for them as well and walk them through it because they don't know. Now what I do is I sit down with my parents on Sunday dinners. Like I sit down with them, talk to them, and now they're more open to talk about emotions and feelings and their depression or maybe their anxiety, not knowing that it's anxiety, right? And now because I know what I know, I can walk them through it. So, yeah.
My parents got divorced when I was 7. So I remember my wife and I, you know, the first year we got married and stuff like that. And I remember when we got to year 7, that was a big deal for me. You know, now I couldn't articulate as to why the full extent of it, but I just remembered that when my dad, and I love my dad, you know, I love my parents. When my dad left, I remember how my mom looked. All I knew is that I never want my wife to feel like that. As a matter of fact, I never wanted to get married. Because I didn't, you know, not just risk it, but you're a product of your environment and you only duplicate what you've seen. So what many of us failed to do and unwilling to do, and this may open another layer, but is that we are going through this as we are trailblazing our own path. We don't have somebody, there's no Paul, we don't have many Pauls in our lives. So when I moved to Florida in mid-1990s and went to my church, there were my pastors and there were some men that allowed me to see how they love on their wives. So it's almost like, you know, my bishop from New Jersey, Pastor Jacob, always says, for you to break a cycle, you have to build something parallel to it. Right? So then those men began to show me what it was to love on your wife, to love on your kids, because I didn't necessarily grow up with that. Right? So when we think about transference, right, so you do what you've seen, you repeat. It's almost like a history. You keep repeating the same thing over and over again. And for that not to happen, you have to kind of purposely, intentionally acknowledge there's a problem that you yourself cannot fix, that you need help to fix. And now, as you get older, you have to realize the dynamic of your relationship. I said this to my brother all the time. I said, you know, you once an adult, twice a child. But the toughest part is this, the second part, you becoming a child, you an adult. And then you still gotta honor and respect. Those of you who are our age now, you are the adults. Your parents are becoming like the kids. So somehow, some way, you're gonna have to reckon what happened as you are doing now, what happened, what you lacked growing up, and then you're gonna have to kind of process that and get the help that you need, so that way when you now become the adult, you now punishing them for what they did not give you. Because that's crucial. There's this made-up illustration that they use. They said that egos can live up to 70 plus years. But at the age of 35, between 30 and 40, they have to make a decision. Their beak becomes too big, and calcium buildup makes it they're not able to eat properly. The feathers grow underneath each other. So they make that decision to where that they go, egos don't live low. So they go to the highest mountain they can find, and they break their beak, and they pluck out all their feathers. They're unable to fly, they're unable to hunt. What happens is, other eagles, as they pass by, they see them there, they will drop something for them to eat. And then the cycle continues. So then those same eagles, when they're now able to fly, they remember where they were, and they keep dropping something by. So the point I'm making is this, I may be way off topic, but the point I'm making is this, I'm a pastor, so that's normal. The point I'm making is this, those of you who are here, you are able to hear this, and you're going to go back to your community, to your connecte, right? You're going to go back to your community, and then you're going to have to be intentional as finding that husband within your community that's loving on his wife, and intentionally go to him and say, can I shadow you? Finding that woman, like, that honors and you respect and love on her husband, flaws and all, for you to learn from them. Not what you see on Instagram or TikTok. So that way, when you have your kids, they can see what it looks like. Once upon a time, we had some young adults over at our house, and I'm done. I can see the hen, we had some young adults over at our house, and my wife, and we were in this tiny little apartment, And you know, so when tiny, that many chairs. And so my wife sat on my lap, right? And then there's this young lady there. She started crying. She said she had never seen a Haitian woman sit on her husband's lap. My wife and I, that's normal. You know what I mean? But she said she had never seen a wife just experience that level of intimacy. So then think about the relationship. That means she grew up in a broken home. She's broken. And if she doesn't get it fixed, she's going to get married. She's going to be broken. And then now all of those things that she doesn't get them fixed, she's going to take that husband and, give him, turn him into, junkie or something. I don't know. But, but all of that to say is this. Listen, recognize what you have and what you don't have. And then go ask somebody intentionally and said, can I build a parallel system so that way when it's your turn to be the parent of your parents and be the parent of your own kids, so you can give them the right thing so we can break the cycle.
Amen. Amen. That's good. I want to add something really, really quickly. I think that everything that was said is really, really strong. Living in Haiti for the past 7 years has taught me a lot about Haitian people that I didn't realize before. I think we often give more appreciation for other people than we do our people. For example, if a Chinese person came in here and said, hey, we're having lunch, you would make sure that you honor their culture by using chopsticks, and that wouldn't be an issue for you. But if your mother told you to do something from her culture, you get problem. It's because you're too familiar. It's familiarity. We're quick to honor other people's culture. We're not quick to honor our culture. It's because we're familiar. And what I've learned is that we need to be empathetic, and that goes both sides. Our parents need to be empathetic, we need to be empathetic. The way that your mom raised you would not be problematic if you grew up in Haiti. Because culturally, you would understand. The young people in Haiti, it wouldn't be it's not problematic for them the way that our mothers and our fathers raised us, because culturally, that's fine. Right? The way you have grown up in a Western culture, it doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it different. So the way you want to be raised is more like an American parent would raise their kids. Right? You want your parents, to hug you, to kiss you, which our parents should do, but some cultures emphasize that more. Right? I'm not saying that they shouldn't do it. All parents should do it. But there are some cultures that you hear the word love more. And we, as Haitian Americans, always tend to say, how can we never say I love you? Because we've grown up in a society that's told us that your parents should tell you that they love you, which I agree with is correct. But there are some societies that don't emphasize that. And who says that American society is right? So you also have to challenge yourself. I want my parents to act like this. Well, why? And you can defend that, and you should defend that, but you also have to do it in a way you say that, okay, well, my parents, my mom, and her way of showing love to me, like you said, is cooking that full course meal. That's valid. That's valid. And so the same way, to talk about the love languages, how you receive love, you should also understand how people give love. It's not always, in American culture, it's always me, how I receive. But you also need to understand how people give. And that's the challenge that we have. We have to understand that we are diaspora, which means we come from a place, but we live in another place. We have one culture, we have a different culture. Jesus was also diaspora? Jesus comes from a place, and he grew up in a place.
Come on, preacher.
And if you look at, there's only a few circumstances where we see interaction with Jesus and his family. There's not a lot, but there's a few. There are 2 circumstances where he has issues with his mom. The first one, his mom and his dad are looking for him. They can't find him after they leave Pentecost. And the response he gives to them is kind of like he's annoyed. Like, yo, lady, don't you know? Like, what don't you get? I'm about my father's business. Why are you looking for me? Right? So he's annoyed that she doesn't understand. She's annoyed that, my man, why are you gone for 3 days? She was a Haitian mom. She's a Haitian mom. Why are you gone for 3 days? So you see, right? You see, like they don't understand each other. The wedding at Cana. There's no wine. She's like, oh yeah, go call Jesus. Jesus is like, what I got to do with that? What do I have to do with that? And you know what he tells her? He's like, it's not my time yet, Mom. She don't get it because in her culture, Jewish culture, I'm going to call my son. He going to handle it. When your mom calls you, yo, come do this. Your mom calls you. In her mind, she's growing up, my son got it. In your mind, you're like, Mom, what does this have to do with me? So there's that barrier, especially when you're dealing with cultures. And so we have to be empathetic to understand that your parents see things differently from you. You see things differently from your parents. Both parties need to be empathetic to each other. Amen. You know what I'm saying? And so I think let's always keep that in mind when we think about these things. It's not easy to deal with different cultures. Not easy. Kids have problems with their parents even when they're the same culture. Yeah. Now imagine you have another layer added of culture that separates us. So let's keep that in mind as we think about this, to be empathetic towards each other.
Awesome. That's good.
Awesome.
That's good. Thank you. Hey guys, thanks for watching HCLN Network. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and check out our website, hclnetwork.com, for updates like pop-ups, community events, and retreats and more. Also, check out HCLN merch for awesome shirts, sweaters, hoodies, and other apparel that you can wear to rep your faith. Lastly, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the HCLN YouTube page for more videos like this. See you soon.